Hey guys, I'm going to try repairing this wagon. I scraped off some of the paint because I'm going to be welding it, and I used this stupid little pet tool right here. That's all I had to work with, and it worked okay. It took a little longer than need be. Anyway, what the problem with this wagon is, you can see there's a little slot here for a cotter pin. So that goes in through here, and there's meant to be a matching one on the top, but that's snapped off. You can see the old weld point right there. So that's where the other slot was for the cotter pin. So it worked like as it does on this side here. So you can see those line up, and this would slip through and lock the side in place. So that's what went wrong. Unfortunately, I don't really have another slot lying around. The old one disappeared. So what I'm going to attempt to do is take the old one like so, or take a cotter pin like so, and then just weld it right onto the frame here. So that would act as a hinge. And the other cotter pin can get removed, and then this would just slide forward, and then you could remove the entire side that way. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do. This is galvanized, so I'm going to drop it in acid, muriatic acid, which I have already done. That's why it's green, but I'm going to do it again because it got a little dirty. So I'm going to drop it in here for 4 minutes. Don't stand around this stuff, it's pretty nasty. So yeah, I'm just going to clean it up a little more by putting it in to the muriatic acid. You can buy this stuff at Home Depot in the paint section. And yeah, so I'll wait about 4 minutes and pull it out. By the way, zip ties dissolve in acid somewhat. That's the zip tie I used. You can see it's sort of discolored and gray. So those don't work too well on acid. Alright, anyway, so I'll be back.
And the reason I'm placing the cotter pin in acid is to remove as much zinc as possible. Because if you weld zinc, the vaporized fumes are quite unhealthy to inhale.
This metal keeps on coming up kind of black in the acid. The cotter pin I put in the acid came out looking quite shiny, so I'm thinking it's got a pretty thick layer on there, so it's really taking a while to eat away the zinc. So I'm just going to file it down using sandpaper as best I can. And I'm outdoors here, so there's plenty of ventilation. Unfortunately, I don't have my gas mask. So that's been in there for about 15 minutes in addition to the initial 10 that it was in for. So I'm going to pull it and use some sandpaper, clean it up as best I can, and then we'll weld it. So I attempted using the cotter pin. Unfortunately, as I was welding it, the cotter pin melted and fell apart, so I wasn't able to use that. So instead, I used a hinge. I did end up welding it. I put rivets in. These are aluminum rivets. But they didn't fit in properly. They kept on shifting, so I did end up having to weld it. As you can see, not the best welding in the world, that's for sure. One of the reasons it was so difficult to weld for me anyway is the difference of thickness of these two metals. This is a pretty thin piece of metal. This whole frame, top frame part, is quite thin. The hinge itself is a bit thicker. It's about 3 millimeters, 2 millimeters thick. And yeah, the bottom, actually, this part is thicker, so this part was a little easier to weld on. Still not great, but it was easier to do that part. So yeah, my welding looks like lava got dripped on stuff. I'll just show you the other side too. So this actually was more secure, but as you can see, as I was welding, you can see I punched through the thinner metal as I'm trying to weld the hinge to the thinner metal. So I'm sure there's an easier technique of getting that to work better, but hey, that's the welding I did. Anyway, sort of a fun little video I thought I could share. Take care, guys.
And since some people insist on putting cats in their videos, I'm going to put a dog in mine.
Sit. 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 Oh, what a bad kid.